welcome. If we can get everyone to be seated, we're going to get started here in just a minute. Wow, Summit is here.
Yogi!
Hey, all right. So, here's the deal. We've got a great program for 1 hour. We're going to meet right now, and we're going to go through some really great topics with some amazing presenters. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here to take it in. Tonight, general session, you'll probably hear me say this 3 times, is at 7:45. Do not miss it. The general session tonight is incredible. I'll just leave it at that. You're going to be stoked. It'll be good. You're going to be excited. Just be there at 7:45 as the show starts. It'll be really, really good. And I think we're having, if you guys don't know Kevin Shaw, anyway, I'll tell you, Kevin. They're going to put some of our coach development team in like Shakeology things and make them dance. And it's kind of, anyway, so you should take pictures of them dancing and post it all over social media. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. This workshop is called How Men Work Their Coaching Business. So if you're here to hear and learn the best practices from some of the best men building the business, that's what this is. Now that doesn't mean that they only recruit men, it just means this is how they build. Your first presenter, I'm going to go ahead and bring him up here so that we fill the hour with these guys, is a 3-time elite coach. He is a 14-star diamond coach, Legacy Club member. He is the top coach from 2010. He's the author of the book Just Suck It Up, representing Team Next Level, Mr. Josh Spencer.
Well, thank you, man. That was, oh, wait. I got a little bit of a clan over here, it looks like, tonight. So, what's going on, guys? Look at this, we got like a third of the couple session here. So I don't know, it's kind of funny, because if you guys been to the core yet? Like I see a lot of men out here, but you've been to the core. Have you seen the men's section? Like, I hear a lot of boos, right? It's like the size of my bathroom. They got a pair of shorts and a cut-off t-shirt or something. But no, so it's good to see you guys here. I'm excited. We got Scottie up next, and then Mike Fitzpatrick. We're gonna crush it. And we're excited because we're gonna kind of teach you guys and talk about some of the things that we do as men to have success in the business. And Sandy's like, hey, you gotta introduce yourself a little bit, so I will. I wanna talk about my story. I've actually been a coach since 2008. So I just had my 11-year anniversary as a coach just 2 days ago, or 3 days ago on July 7th, which is crazy because it feels like it was just yesterday that I signed up, but basically I'm like the grandpa in the business now. But I was a young kid. I just graduated college not too long ago, and well, not too long ago, but when I started as a coach, got a career as a financial advisor, and I was just 22. To make a really long story short, how I came across Beachbody and how I came across P90X was I just fell out of shape. So I started a career that I didn't really enjoy. It was a straight up sales position as a financial advisor. So I was doing all the cold calling bull crap. I can't cuss, unfortunately. They're not letting me cuss on this one. So I was doing a lot of cold call sales and stuff. Didn't really enjoy it. The stress of having a career that I didn't enjoy doing, and then add that to eating like crap, lots of Chinese food. I stopped working out as a college baseball player. The weight came on super fast. Just like a lot of our stories, very similar situations. And I gained about 25 pounds in probably just 2 or 3 months. Tried to find something, found P90X in an infomercial, decided, all right, cool, I'm gonna go to eBay, I'm gonna buy it. And that's for real. So I was actually a customer lead. Barbie reached out to me and said, hey, Barbie Clev, by the way, she reached out to me, hey, I'm your coach, I'm here to help. If you have any questions, cool. So she helped me through the program. Really long story short, got incredible results, decided to sign up as a coach back in 2008. So what separates me from the very few men. I mean, there's not many men, but how have I been able to have success? And it's really, really interesting because there's most of the men in this business, they recruit a lot of women. I'm not that. In fact, since I signed up as a coach, I would honestly say about, 99.9% of the customers that I sign up, of the coaches that I sign up, are all men. And how do I do that? And I truly, truly think, and a lot of you guys, obviously, there's guys in here, you want to build a business, I truly think what's happening is you're severely overcomplicating things. Because it's not as hard as you think it is. It comes down to branding. It comes down to marketing. And what is it? So what am I talking about when I'm talking about branding? I'm just telling you that you need to be you. You need to be transparent. So if you guys follow me, you know I'm a very raw person. I'm a very real, straightforward person. Everything that I do on social media is just to show people who I am. So I think what's happened is that we've had so many guys that think in order to build a successful business, they have to recruit women. And sometimes, in a lot of cases, that's great because that might be personality-wise in their market. But a lot of the times, maybe it's not. Maybe you're just trying to force something that's not going to work. You just got to let it go and be yourself. So from this day forward, everything that you do, you have to be as transparent as you possibly can be on social media. Market to people who are like you. So for me, I'm a tatted dude. I'm a dad. I have 3 kids. I'm a husband. I love sports. I love doing crazy stuff. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love cars. And anybody who follows me on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, you know that is me because that's what I put out there. So everything that I'm putting out there is just trying to appeal to people who are like me. Listen guys, it's really not complicated. And it's not anything that you haven't heard before, but you're trying to force something that is just not going to work. You just have to let it go a little bit, and don't be afraid to show people who you are, because there might be a lifestyle or something that you do that attracts someone to you. There's a lot of people, and I sign up men who are like me just because that is what I'm talking about. I'm talking to people. When I put posts out there, I'm providing value every day on social media, but it's geared and aimed towards people who are like me. And that's what you gotta do. So what I want to do is I want to take just a few minutes here and I want to talk about my exact process and how I bring men into the business and how I bring in men in as customers. I'm not a discount coach guy. There's a lot of people who are. I'm just not. I've never been a discount coach guy. In 11 years that I've been a coach, I've probably signed up 2 coaches for the discount, and that was just because they wanted to sign up for the discount. I'm not going to say, no, if you want to do it, cool, it's fine. My process is very simple, and it's a system. And we all have to have systems if we want to have success. Number 1, first and foremost, if I'm bringing someone into the business, they got to be involved with the products. Got to be a product of the product. So I'm getting them involved with whatever programs, mostly right now, I think Joel's in here, but mostly Lift 4 right now, because it's a program that is extremely appealing to me. I love to be in the gym. I love to lift weights. So people in my market, I know that's what they're gonna like as well. So I'm getting them on programs that I think will fit them the best. A lot of times, it's something like Lift 4 or Body Beast, which I've had great results with both of those. Especially Body Beast. After I went through Lyme disease, I gained 13 pounds in 90 days of muscle. But anyway, it was crazy. So, step 1, get people involved with the programs. Step 2, I do run challenge groups. I run them every single month. And it's kind of funny, Jake was up here, I don't know if you guys saw the last session, but Jake was up here and he was talking about something he calls the man cave, right? That's me, like that is totally me. He has this man cave. Well, my challenge group is basically my man cave. So everybody that I bring on as customers, I'm putting them in the support group. And it's not, here's the thing guys, it's not like, I gotta be careful how I say this. It's very different than what a lot of the women do in this business, because for me in my market, I'm not an emotional guy, right? I'm not asking a guy to open up about his feelings because I don't want anybody doing that to me. I'm just not that guy, right? Don't do that to me. And I even think they said in the last session, or no, I was talking to somebody back, they're like, yeah, they just don't talk to me. I tried that once and they just stopped talking. Well, yeah, because it's weird. So I bring on a lot of guys and it's a support group. It's like, hey dude, did you do your workout today? Yeah, great, cool, let's do it tomorrow. There's no rah-rah, no nothing, some recognition, but it's only a little bit. It's, hey, let's get to the point, let's get in, let's get out, boom, we're done. But step 3, I keep an eye out in my groups. And some one-on-one coaching I'll do through emails, but I keep an eye out for people who show excellent leadership quality. For people who I feel that I can bring on into the business that actually will run with it and have success. I'm not signing up just anybody. I just don't do that. I've never been like that. I'm very selective in who I bring onto my team. What do I look for? I look for somebody who's participating regularly. I look for somebody who's vocal, somebody who's speaking up, encouraging the other guys or whoever in the group. And I do have women that join my groups too. Again, there are some women that I do sign up as customers and coaches because they can relate to me. That's great. I look for people who have results with the programs. This is the number one thing. So if I see a guy that is absolutely crushing the program, it's hard to get results. It's hard to change your lifestyle. If you can do this, if you can commit yourself entirely to nutrition, you can commit entirely to the workouts, there's a good chance you're gonna have what it takes to be successful as a coach. So step 3 is I look for certain people and I look for certain qualities. I am very selective in who I bring on. Step 4, I reach out to them through a message or email and I'll say, listen man, you know I'm a coach, you know I've been doing this a long time. I want to talk to you about joining my team. It's very direct and to the point, but I do not go into detail about the business in a message. And I train my team the same. I don't feel like talking about an amazing opportunity that we have at Beachbody through a message or an email is an effective method. I just don't think it is. I think if you want to relate to someone and truly connect with someone and bring them into the business, you gotta get them on the phone or you gotta get them on a Zoom call, face to face, so they can see your authenticity. Like, see how real you are. It is key, guys. Face to face. My next step is, when are you signing up? But first, I do talk about the financial opportunity, and I do talk about some of the perks of being a Beachbody coach, which I'll get to in a minute. But then I go into, all right, when are you signing up? And then I'll do my follow-ups after that. All right, so it's a very simple process that I've been following for a long time that has been working for me. Sure, some things change, especially social media-wise, but there's a lot of things that are very consistent. My system will never change. It'll never change. This is gonna be my method for a long time. It's worked for me, and I brought on a lot of guys into this business. A lot of people into this business. So, the other part of what I'm supposed to talk about here is personal and financial growth. And I've gotten yelled at like 4 times already, the Beachbody disclaimer, right? Because if I'm gonna talk about income, I gotta tell you that your effort is what's gonna determine your income. Beachbody does not guarantee, there you go. Beachbody, they do not guarantee any level of income. You gotta work your tail. God, it's so hard for me not to cuss. You gotta work your tail off to have success, right? I wanna talk about my story because bringing people into the business, especially men, and I really want to ask you guys, seriously, and there's a lot of guys in here, I really want to ask you this. Is your number one priority to provide for your family? Right? As a guy especially, that is the number one thing that I feel that we're supposed to do. To make sure our family is taken care of, to provide for our family. Right? So back in 2009, and I'm sorry if some of you guys have heard of this story, but I like sharing it, and I like to share this with prospects because it's a powerful story. But back in 2009, my wife and I, Melinda, she couldn't be here, but my wife and I were on food stamps, right? So we were living in a one-bedroom apartment. Our daughter was sleeping in our only bedroom. Her and I slept on a couch for 2 years. Slept on a couch, right? And we were struggling so bad. But there was this one day in particular, and this is 2009, shortly after I signed up as a coach because I struggled a little bit for about a year. But there was one day in particular, I'll never forget this. I walk into the grocery store and we had to buy formula for my daughter. And she was just little at the time, she was just a baby. We go to the checkout line and Melinda forgot something, so she had to go back and pick something up. I was the responsible one for the food stamps. I had to hand the food stamps to the cashier register lady. And I don't know what it was about that moment, but honestly, in the best way I can describe it, is that somebody walked up to me and then just went, boom, right into my gut. And I just felt like the biggest failure as a father, as a husband, that you can feel. And it was the worst feeling I've ever experienced in my life. I've been through a lot of crap. It was the worst feeling. I honestly felt like I let down my family. I let down my wife. So my motivator for the business was, okay, it's time to get out of this situation. I'm gonna have to do whatever I can to get out of this situation, right? I went gung-ho on Beachbody, and I put in whatever hours I had to put in. I made as many sacrifices as I had to make. And again, income disclaimer, right? I went from being on food stamps in late 2009 to a six-figure income by the end of 2010. And I was able to get my family off of food stamps. So that was my biggest motivator. But here's the thing, and I don't think that we, as men especially, we don't talk about this opportunity that we have in front of us and how life-changing it can be. We all have stories. Don't be afraid to talk about it. And I just said, and I asked you guys that on purpose. I asked, do you guys want to provide for your families? Is that your number one priority? Well, hell yeah, it's your number one priority. So why aren't you talking about it more? Why aren't you talking about this opportunity that we have to build a side business, to create the freedom that we have, or that's possible? Because there's so many guys out there, and I know this because I freaking sign them up all the time. There's so many guys out there that are waiting for this. Honestly, even to this day, it blows my mind because the potential for growth for men in this business is out of this world. There's barely anybody here, right? There's 99% women just here at Summit. Think about the opportunity that you have as a man to appeal to people, to other guys like you, and change their life. It just comes back to how you talk about the opportunity and how you recruit them, and not being afraid to do it. There's really not a ton of difference between men and women. It really, really comes down to understanding yourself, being as transparent as you possibly can, using your stories. We all have stories. Share your stories to attract people to the fitness side of it and the financial opportunity that you have in front of us. And you can't forget too, when you're talking about Beachbody, guys, some of my best friends are here in this room. I met through Beachbody. I don't know if you guys follow my stories, they're freaking nuts. We do some crazy stuff. But this is the connection, this is a community that I've been able to build. And this is another side that I love to talk about. Do you know how many messages I get from guys that are like, dude, I just want to be you. I want to be able to go on those ski trips. I want to be able to go to freaking France. I want to go dirt bike riding. Like, I want to do these things that you do. And I talk about it, and it's a cool attraction to the business. So that's it. I don't have any more time left, but I really appreciate you guys coming. Truly do. You guys are going to in for something awesome with Scottie and Mike. You guys rock.
Josh Spencer. That guy's amazing. Okay, we're gonna keep it going. You know, I do love his takeaways, and I think that, you know, in coach development, we work with a lot of top coaches. The one thing he said, he said a lot of great things. I wrote down all 6 or 7 or however many that was. But I love the concept of keeping it simple. You guys, don't overcomplicate it, don't overthink it, keep it simple. So we're gonna keep it going. Our next presenter is a one-time elite coach, 5-star diamond, Success Club 10 all-star legend. He's hit Success Club 10 48 months in a row. He's representing Team Soul Fitness Union. Help me welcome to the stage, Mike Fitzpatrick.
Kind of cool because you've got 3 guys here and we all basically run our businesses very, very differently. And you're going to see that. Josh talked a lot about coaching. I'm going to kind of come at it from an angle of a client base as well, because I know there's a lot of guys out here who are brand new. How many guys out here coaching are within their first year? Yeah, okay, so quite a few. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background about myself real fast. More of a business background. I'm a business guy. I approach this as a business. So in 2004, my brother and I, we started probably one of the first pet high-end retail stores in Canada. We'd opened our first store. We were on our way to making $60 million worth of sales, and we were really happy. Even with that horrific bleached hair, I swear, we were really happy. We came from the West Coast. So that happened, we brought in a third business partner. We brought in a third business partner to infuse some capital into the industry, into our business. As we were expanding, we grew from 1 store to 23 stores, from Victoria, British Columbia to Englewood, New Jersey. And then it all fell apart. I didn't control my brand anymore. I didn't control who we were marketing to, and I didn't control the direction of the company. And I didn't know, but 5 years after that, that naive guy with the horrific hair walked away without a dime. Without a dime. The only thing I had was a piece of paper that was an $8 million lawsuit with my name on it. I'm gonna skip the gory details, but it all ended up okay. It was all fine. But that's what happened. It crushed us. Absolutely crushed us. So I'm currently still in the pet industry. I still have a full-time job. A lot of people are like, why do you still have a full-time job? And it's probably my curse. I actually still love my job. So I do both. I do Beachbody, I do my full-time job at exactly the same time. So 4 years ago, I was still loving my job. I was doing some consulting work on the side, helping other people build their own brands. But I still had that fire in me to kind of figure out I wanted to do something, right? Once you're an entrepreneur and you've done it once, it's like in you forever. So I was looking, and then literally Beachbody came and knocked on my door. This guy here knocked on my door, my brother, and said, dude, you're doing this. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So I've always been close with my brother. If you don't know Jamie, he's been doing this a little while. He's sort of pseudo-successful. So he came over one day. He knew I needed help, both from a fitness perspective and from a business perspective. I think when he knocked on my door, I was probably close to 200 pounds. As of last week, I think I'm down, thanks to Morning Milk, down 100. We'll give that a shout out. I think I'm down to about 169, so you gotta do the program. So, even though I didn't have any real background in social media, I knew that I could develop a product or market a brand to an adult who's looking for something. And I ultimately realized that whether it's a $500,000 pet store they were buying or a $180 challenge pack, they're basically buying into you, right? They're buying into what you stand for, into what you believe, and how you are gonna help them. So, I'm gonna have to do a little explanation of this first. We all know what product of the product is. Carl didn't invent it, Beachbody didn't invent it, it's business 101. The first thing Jamie and I did when we bought our first pet store, or opened our first pet store, we bought a dog, right? You can't run a pet store without actually owning a dog. So that was step number one. So the first thing I did was I fell in love with a program. I discovered an amazing program purely by fluke, thanks to my wife. She lost about 65 pounds twice with both babies doing P90X. I didn't know about Beachbody then, I just knew there was this really cool program named P90X that I couldn't do. I couldn't. I tried twice. I've got severe osteoarthritis in my right knee from a college basketball injury. So every time she went down to do it, I'd try it, I couldn't do it, I came up and I stuffed my face with food, right? So she discovered this challenge group thing that my brother had run. She was actually in his challenge group. And so on day one, she was doing her before and afters. And like any good husband, when we're scared of something, when we have that fear of failure, when we don't understand it, we make fun of it, right? That's what we do. So, there's my before and afters. That literally was the night she did her before and afters. And I was mocking it, right? Because that's what good husbands do, is they support their wives. And that night, I snuck downstairs, took the DVD, stuck it in to the DVD player, assuming, you know what, can't do it, gonna go back upstairs and eat. But in about 30 minutes, every excuse I'd ever had been shattered, right? Physical excuses, business excuses. Here was a program I could do. Here was a product I believed in that I could authentically share. And that's what happened. So, as we go on, a lot of you in here know who our Noah is. I feel like he's like my guardian angel. Every time I hit like this, the low of the lows, or something happens to me, I get a call or an email from Arnaud with either a test group or something he's offering. So this was me right at before and after shift shop. The before picture was actually, I had stem cell transplant surgery on my knee to try and regrow cartilage. And I wasn't gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. You're awake, you lay down on the table, they take a rod and a hammer and pound the rod into your pelvic bone and pull out the marrow. It's amazing, it is. And then they put that back into your knee, along with some liposuction and some blood, a whole bunch of other things. And like any good coach, what did I do? I filmed it live on Facebook. I did. I queued it up, I gave it to the nurse. He walked through it like we're in the Mayo Clinic. The doctor, he was like, it was pretty cool. So that was to be a product of the product. Secret to my success. So don't confuse these pictures up here with what's successful, all right? This is actually, I don't know what's more embarrassing, the fact that my wife's biceps are bigger than mine, or that I actually used to run ads like this. But back in the day, you could spend X amount of dollars, and we kind of knew with successful ads, you could get Y in return. It was a great business move, right? And these were the actual posts that we did. They're scary when you look at them, right? But that's back, this was maybe 2015. So again, with the changes to Facebook, algorithm changes, ads, I've had to move my business more from a transactional business, which is very guy focused, right? It's not emotional. We just, yeah, give me your money, thank you, bye-bye, go away. I've had to move from a transactional business to a connection business, right? Which is a little bit difficult for guys. And we've had to kind of change the things we do. And some of them are great business moves, such as when you're having a discussion with a lady after an invite, I now make sure I ask, hey, is it okay if I follow up with you on Tuesday? All right? It's a great business move, protects any legal restraining orders from you, from hassling ladies, but it's true, it's a great business move, and it's a way, because we all know people ghost you, right? It's a great business move to use that line, especially for guys. It doesn't make you seem like you're hassling somebody. So, as a guy again, to avoid the creep factor, I bring my kids and my wife, obviously because she's hot, I think she's hot, into as many pictures as I can, right? It avoids that creep factor. Now, like all coaches, I know I'm not the only one. I bribe my kids constantly to be in photos. Sometimes I have to bribe my wife with shoes, but for this, for me, it's become about family. But it's got to go a lot deeper than family. There's a million families out there on Instagram or on Facebook. So for me, I had to take this a little bit deeper. And a lot about this business is pivoting or adjusting or changing, whether it's social media that makes you do that, whether it's the business that makes you do that. So yeah, family was a great step from going from transactions into connections, but I had to go a little bit deeper. For me, I'm the guy who does most of the cooking in our house. I love to do it. It's my passion. It's what I do. So for me, I went a little bit deeper. Not just families, but healthy cooking. Matt, part of this is for you. So what I did was I kind of reinvented my brand. And again, remember, from a business sense, a brand isn't a logo or a symbol or a website. A brand is basically what someone envisions when they think of your business, okay? So for me, I kind of did a pivot and I was like, I'm gonna focus on this Instant Pot. It was new, I liked doing it. 2B Mindset was coming out, it was perfect timing. So I dove head on into a launch of 2B Mindset. The month before that launched, every single day, I pretty much made something new live in the Instant Pot that related to 2B Mindset. Every single day, consistently, right? That consistency paid off to the tune of SC 140 that month. As a dude, not bad, right? So, but that comes with the consistency. I was being me. I was doing something that was me, and it was consistent, right? So, again, the brand for me involves a couple things. Sometimes it's major, sometimes they're tiny little things. And you have to do social media audits of yourself. We've done this as a team before, where we say, okay, who's next? Who wants to come up? And they come up, we pull up their feed on Instagram, and I'm not gonna say we hatchet job it, but we critique it in a nice way. You have to look at your own social media and audit it. What's getting transactions? What's getting comments? Don't worry about the likes, okay? All it takes is that one person. But what's getting comments? What's getting that engagement? For me, it started with my remote control braking on my camera, and we have a relatively big island, and so I had to press the button and run around.
So this one is brand new. We've actually never tried it. It's something that sorry, I'm just gonna turn that off for a second. Something that I saw, and I've kind of manipulated things. If you don't know us by now, We like to take delicious food and healthify it. How's that for an intro? What do you call that? Okay, so yeah, it's becoming my signature move, right, Matt? Okay, here we are. So, hello everybody. Yes. Happy.
Okay, so as weird, thank you, that was for you, Matt. And that's a perfect example. Matt's in the UK. If I did a cooking video and I didn't slide in, I'd get a text, dude, where's the slide, right? What it is creating that brand is just creating something that people are comfortable with. They grow accustomed to it. They look forward to it, right? Whether it's a slide in, whether it's a style of a picture, it's that consistency of how your page feels and looks to them. So for me, being camera ready as a guy, with the changes to Facebook, with ads, Instagram, at the age of 51, I've kind of had to figure out, how to take an attractive picture. And I use attractive loosely, like in the artistic form of attractive. I've learned that, you know what? If I face this way, it takes a couple years off. If I don't stand under this light in the kitchen, my hair looks a little bit fuller, right? They're little things. Guys are insecure too, don't worry. They're little things. Learning how to use Instagram stories to connect with people, both men and women. For Instagram stories, polls and questions are like a godsend to guys if you have not used them yet. You have to use them. It's such a non-confrontational way for women or men to connect with you, right? Click of a poll, click of a question. It allows you to then go back and respond to them because they've started that discussion, right? I have men and women clients, but you'll see the majority of my clients and coaches still tend to be women. Selling versus sharing. Again, moving from a transactional business to a connection or a relationship business, I've had to totally go away from selling and more into sharing. There's a lot of network marketing people out there that give it a bad name, and apparently I was one of them. I call that the shake in your face. Don't ever do that, the shake in your face. That, to me, on the left, is what is gonna repel people, right? Showing your Shakeology side. To me, as somebody who's in business, it looks like that guy's trying to sell me something. And I was, right? Whereas on the right, it's the same thing I'm trying to actually sell, but what they do on the right, and if you do it consistently enough, and again, from a brand perspective, that's a picture people see regularly on my page. Put your phone in portrait mode. I hold it down as far as I can. If you haven't used portrait mode, you gotta figure out portrait mode, it's fantastic. I hold it down as far as I can, I take the picture. And I do that every single time. What it does is it doesn't repel people anymore. What it does is they start asking, going, what the heck is that? That looks delicious. That opens them up to asking me the question, as opposed to me cold calling somebody, asking them what they're doing for their breakfast, right? So, having fun. I think on social media, the one thing men and women look forward to is humor. And I think that's one of the few things as guys we have to our advantage. Either we're just too thick to understand the difference, but we don't really care as much what people think about us, right? We just don't. And I think we need to use that to our benefit. I think that was like one of the most traction posts I ever got was me mocking my wife again. I went back to the same store she did. I didn't even tell her, and I tried on the tights of her AB, which one's better, right? They do get a lot of traction. And then again, part of the brand, which might seem silly to you, is I guarantee you this year, if we don't put up a family Halloween photo, I'll get a lot of messages saying, what the hell, what happened, Mike, right? That is all my wife, that's her. On Halloween, she deals with 3 babies in the house, and we only had 2 kids, okay? All 3 of us were like, oh, Jesus, we whine. Like, do we have to dress up again? But she knocks it out of the park. That was Moana. By the way, I hand drew those tattoos on by myself with an erasable Sharpie. Anyway, that's all my wife, so thank you. Another thing I learned really early on in business is there's a reason in the pet industry there are no cat stores, right? Because other than Joel Freeman, there's nobody crazy about their cats enough. It's true. Like, again, he's perfect, right? Well, okay, there's another cat lover up here in the front row. Both of you. You can't support a cat store by yourself. You can't. And that's the reason there's no cat stores. Okay? So for me, I do every single program. I try every single product. Because, including country heat and size, right? Whether I like it or not, to me, it's my job to expose as many people as possible to that product and let them decide if it's in their wheelhouse, right? 3-day yoga retreat, not my jam. Or 3 weeks, yeah, I don't even know what it's called. Engage with your community, that's a big one. For me, as a guy, I've got a really tiny, small group of friends, right? A lot of guys are like that. But the community with Beachbody is what a lot of people are missing. Again, we're not selling just fitness, people. It's actually not fitness at all, really. But the community is what's gonna bring a lot of people into this. So for you, if you can, attend every single event. You're here, attend every local event. My wife is a teacher. We can't go on the SC vacation, as I call it, because we can't get the time off. So that's the one I can't do. tbbeventpics.com. Find the happiest looking son of a guns there and use those pictures, okay? They're fantastic pictures. You can imagine the conversation that we might have when I say, yeah, so I'm gonna go on this cruise with 5,000 girls in bikinis. I'll see you in a week, babe. Yeah, so I choose my battles. So for me, it just so happens that my diamonds and star diamonds happen to be women. I don't market it that way. Are you guys back there? I don't market it that way, but I've learned that if you adapt to social media and you meet your clients and your coach's needs, you'll find the people that are looking for you, right? So for me, I knew there was something bigger out there, I just needed to find it. And thankfully, they happened to find me. Thank you.
Good job, Mike. All right, guys, this is really, really good. This is awesome. So, couple of takeaways. I love he mentioned it briefly, the social media audit. I think there's some really awesome, looks to take a look at your business, see what you're doing, make sure there's some things there. Transactional to a connection business, I think that's important. But let's keep going. Our next presenter he's from Idaho Falls, Idaho. He's a 5-time elite coach, Legacy Club member, a Success Club All-Star 10 legend, 99 months. So next month he'll hit 100 months in Success Club 10. He's a 2013 top 10 elite coach representing Dynasty Strong. Welcome to the stage, Scottie Hobbs.
All right. Okay, I'm excited to be here. It was awesome hearing Josh and Mike. The thing I want you guys to know as you leave this event today is that, especially the guys in here, because I see females here as well, is that you just make a decision. I'm not gonna be Josh or Mike or Scott, but I wanna live life like them. I wanna do life like they are and build an incredibly phenomenal and just incredibly amazing business. So I'm here to talk to you guys about the opportunities that I see for men in this business, but I always start out with a story. This top photo is a photo at the steel factory that I used to work in. I'm circled there. I'm not even looking at the photo. It shows you how excited I was about my work and being there. At this time, this was in 2010. I want you guys to know a little bit about my life and how I got started. As a man, we are the providers for the family. That's generally speaking, we want to have a great family. We want to, own a great home, have a family, spend time with them, and provide for them. That's what we are. We're providers. So I'm working really hard. My dental lab job didn't work out. I got outsourced by machines, and so I end up in a steel factory for one of my church leaders. He's the CEO, so he gave me a job there sweeping floors. And I'm a hard worker. I need to provide for the family. And he says, you're a hard worker. If you can work as many hours as you want here. The only job I have is sweeping the floors. So he hires me, and I work. And I work 12 hours a day, and every Saturday for about 5 years. And at this time, my wife, you can see her in the bottom here with my 2 daughters, my oldest daughters, she was working at the Hilton Garden Inn at night. So I would go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning and get home at 5 p.m. She would go to work at 3, so she'd watch the kids in the morning, go to work at 3, drop them off at the neighbors to get babysat, and then I would pick them up when I got home at 5, and then I would watch them at home. So I'm working super hard, trying to provide for my family, and I always had big goals and ambitions for my life. I'll share some of those at the end of this presentation, but I wanted to, I knew the goals and the things I wanted to accomplish out of life, and it just wasn't matching up with what the amount of work I was putting in. It seemed impossible. So I was looking to do different types of businesses. So I went to someone in my town I knew was very successful, and he owns like 17 gas stations, owner of one of the big hotels. Later found out he's the CEO of another network marketing company that's global. I didn't know that at the time, but he was a very successful business owner. And I'm asking him for tips and advice on building a business. We talk about franchises, we talk about, my sister cuts hair, so we talk about opening a hair salon, and we could be the owners and she could manage it. And through my career at Idaho Steel, starting at sweeper, I ran the CNC, the cutting machines, and I programmed them. So I started a business using Craigslist to put out advertisements and building a Facebook like page. And I started to make these custom-made signs. But the amount of time it took me to draw them and the money to pay to use the laser and the metal, I would make like $1 an hour when I sold the sign for like $150. If you did all of the math, I'm making like $5 to $10 literally of a profit. So things weren't really working out, but I was trying all these different things. I was willing to do whatever it took to provide for my family. And then I happened to have this neighbor. He was this really jacked guy. I'm 5'11". He's like 6'2", 220 pounds, and I was 5'11", 189 pounds, just fluffy, just chubby and tired and exhausted from working 12-hour days. And so I let him in my house. He's a new neighbor that moved from out of state, and he's like, hey, I heard you have 2 girls. I have 2 girls. We're about the same age. I want to make some friends. And he had a plate of brownies, so I let him in. And I just remember sitting there, I don't know if this isn't weird, but his biceps were bulging out of his shirt, and I just asked him, dude, we're the same age. We both have 2 kids. How come you look like that and I look like this? And he's like, well, he told me some advice on eating, and he's like, I strength trained the high school football team. I'm the special teams coach, and if you want to come train with us, you can come with us tomorrow. And I was like, I'm in. Tell me when and where, and let's get this thing started. So he inspired me, and he invited me, but they trained at 6 in the morning, and I had to be to work at 5. So I'm like, dude, what can I do at home? And he's like, you should do that P90X workout. I see that gives people great results. So I made a decision to do P90X, and in 90 days, I committed to it. The meal plan, the program, working 12-hour days, watching my kids alone at night while my wife's at work, and I did it. And in 90 days, I lost 38 pounds. And I had abs. That's my original P90X before-after picture for the 90 days. And I'm excited. And people are noticing the changes throughout this journey, and they're like, Scottie, what are you doing? I need some help. Do you have any advice for me? And I'm like, just go do P90X. Go do Insanity. And I fell in love with telling people about that program and helping people get results. I fell in love with them saying, dude, that chest and back workout, I about puked after doing all those push-ups. And I loved doing that. I fell in love with that. And then one day I put my P90X pictures into a transformation video, and I put it on YouTube. I'm not a coach. I don't know anything about the coaching opportunity really. I put my pictures on P90X like page, and I get scripted by about 30 coaches. They're copy and pasted messages about talking with their upline and three-way calls, and I'm like, oh, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen. Like, I'm never gonna be a coach. I didn't really know it was like an income opportunity or business opportunity. I just thought it was a shiny title. You could be a coach and just be a part of the Team Beachbody as a coach. And so I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna do that thing. So that's my introduction to Beachbody coaching. So I didn't really want to be a coach because that's what I thought it was. I thought it was some weird thing where you private message people scripts. And so I'm watching transformation videos after I get mine up, and I watched Lindsay Matway's video, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Because she talked about losing 30 pounds with P90X, and she called Beachbody and got signed up as a lead. And she said that she was helping people, and she had just barely had her daughter London, who was born prematurely, and they incurred a few $100,000 worth of debt. And she was a bartender. And she just shared in that video, just simply, didn't say how much she made or anything, that she was able to walk away from bartending, and she was now home with her daughter during this important time of her life, coming out of ICU, and she was going to slowly pay off the medical debt. And I'm like, my mind started thinking, I'm like, maybe this, like I work 12-hour days and my wife works at night because of our couple $100,000 mortgage. Like, maybe this is the way that I can accomplish all those goals that I want and be able to have a family where we sit down and eat dinner together and play at the park together and not live these separate lives like we had been living. So I was introduced to the coach opportunity by Lindsay. I emailed her, we had a phone call, I got to know her. There was no pitch, it was just like, dude, you have great transformation. I think you would be a great coach, you should do it. And I told her no. That's cool, that's awesome that you can do that, like good for you, I'm just gonna keep helping people on the side. And then it was, and during that call she's like, here's some people to follow, and it was Josh Spencer, top coach of 2010, and Wayne Wyatt, who then went on to be the top coach of 2011. So I watched these guys, I watched Lindsay over the course of the next 8 months, and Lindsay kept following up with me like once a month, like, you're doing what I'm doing, you're just not getting paid for it. And I kept telling her no. And then my third daughter was born in April of 2011. So it's almost a complete year after that first day that I started P90X. And it was about 18 days after my daughter Alina was born, my third daughter. And I remember I work at 5, I would go to the mailbox because our life is so busy. I'd pick up all the mail, I'd take it into my office, and then I would sort through the mail so I could do my spreadsheet and my bills during lunch and throw the junk mail away right there in the shipping room. And that day it was the hospital bill, the doctor bill, the anesthesiologist bill, all the Blue Cross medical statements. And I owed like $3,800 after insurance, and we're already paycheck to paycheck, and my wife doesn't have paid maternity leave and she's home from work. And I was scared. I was like, how am I gonna do this? And I felt this heavy weight on my shoulders. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that before, but my cubicle felt like it was spinning around, and it continued throughout the day. And I got home, it was still there. And that's the day that I signed up as a coach, where I said, Beachbody is the answer. Beachbody is the thing that can change that for me. So that's the day that I signed up officially as a coach. It's the day that my fear of failing as a Beachbody coach, or failing at being able to take care of and provide for my family, became greater than my fear of failing at this business, at becoming a coach. So I was taught this opportunity by a woman, and I started my journey. I remember having a conversation. I'm going to just mention this to you real quick. I told her I wanted to make $10,000 because $10,000 meant that my wife could leave her night job, and if we offset the babysitter cost in her home, like if I made $10,000, it would change our entire lives. If I could just make that in 1 year, she could be home and we could work together at raising the kids together in the evening. So I made a commitment to help change people's lives and to make that a top priority in building my business. And I had inspirations like Josh and Wayne and Lindsay to look up to and to follow. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the opportunities that I hear every day when I'm doing coach opportunities, when people email me or respond to my Instagram stories. Some of the objections, and then where I see an opportunity in it so you guys can take that. The first one that I always see is this feels like a female-dominated business. Have you guys heard that before? Okay. Guys, the truth of the matter is you can get any resource in life if you can add enough value to other people's lives. all it's going to take simply for many of you guys is just changing your story. If you're saying, for example, this seems like a female-dominated business, or all the elite coaches are women, having a story like that, or I don't have enough time because I work so many hours, that story will kill your drive and your ambition, and you'll never see success in this business. So you need to change your story to something more empowering, such as there's very few men doing this business, so there's a huge opportunity for me to reach the men that need our help. Or the decision that I made is I'm gonna be the guy that shows men how to build this business just like the women are doing it. So it's gonna be as simple as changing your story. And guys, what I want you as men to know is there are millions, tens of millions of men who are not on Beachbody On Demand, who are not using Beachbody On Demand workouts, who want to be healthier. They're not using Shakeology, they don't know about our supplements, and they don't even know that there's an opportunity to better provide for their family, to completely change the future of their family's lives. And it's up to us to educate them on that by being an example, through being proof that these products work and getting out there and doing what Josh said about marketing. So one of the other objections I see, we're going to go through these pretty quick, is that men can only sell to men. And there's an opportunity because men have an advantage to work both with males and females. I want you guys to think about this really quick. Most men are not going to take advice from a woman on how to build muscle and achieve their health and fitness goals. They're not going to ask women for the most part. Maybe it's the ego, I don't know what it is. But men will ask other men for advice with their health and fitness. Another thing, a huge opportunity, is women will also ask men for advice on their health and fitness. So there's a huge opportunity that I think we are missing there as men, and it's time for us to step up and take care of that. One of the other ones I got was Beachbody only sells weight loss products and men are into building muscle. And you know, I was talking to, like, the truth of the matter is everyone wants to be more fit, they want to be healthier, and they want to be stronger. Everyone. No matter what age you're at, you have a desire to be like that for the most part. So I was asking one of I have a new guy in my team. He's a personal trainer. He's got like a master's degree in exercise science, works for the university. He's 4 months into his journey. He's like a coach away from Diamond, hitting Success Club 10 every month. He's recruiting like NCAA basketball players to his team, and they're helping people with these programs and supplements. I'm like, Tate, how are you successful? Like, I'm doing this talk for the men, like, you're a new guy, like, why are you successful? And he says, first of all, I'm just excited about an opportunity to better provide for my family. I love health and fitness. This is something my wife and I can do together, but there's a huge opportunity because the men aren't doing it. So I'm gonna do it. So I want you guys to think about it. He's just made the decision. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do this. And he says, in all reality, we have a larger pool of people to choose from and help than the women do with so many women coaches. So there's a huge opportunity for me, so I'm just gonna take the opportunity and I'm gonna run with it. So the last one is the social media. We'll hit on this quick. I sucked at social media before. All I did on social media before was post pictures of Memorial Weekend camping, if we shot a deer, archery hunting, or when our kids were born. And then I started P90X and started posting pictures. But like, you can see how horrible, I'm like gun showing a Shakeology box with a link to a blog. Like that's horrible. So I understand that if you're not into social media, I was not good at it before as well. But it's important that you guys know that social media is the new marketplace. Social media is where people have their attention. And one thing I want to give you guys some advice, like all the women and some men here are going to give great tips and advice on social media and building your business. I take almost all of my advice that I get from successful companies, entrepreneurs, and influencers outside of Beachbody. What are they doing on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook to market their product, opportunity, and to tell their story? And I learned from those CEOs on how to operate and run a business. So social media is a new marketplace. It's where people have their attention. So I use social media for you guys to understand what I'm using this for, to tell the story of how I stay in shape. Like, I've been able to do it for almost 10 years now. To stay in shape for 10 years, I teach people and show people on social media how I help other people stay in shape. And then I teach and show people on social media about the opportunity to better provide for your family. And what I want you guys to understand is $500 a month will completely change almost maybe 90-95% of the families in the US will change their life, an extra $6,000 a year. So it's our job to educate and teach them, and I use social media as that platform. Like that post where I'm shouting out Tate for earning like $700 in his 3rd month as a coach. Like I'm educating people on pay raises and how much you get paid in the corporate world, how much pay raises are typically per year, and how he gave himself like a 400% raise in a month. So I'm educating my social media in that way. The next thing that I want to talk about is I don't want to appear creepy when messaging women. Guys, don't be creepy. That's the only thing. Be clear with your intentions that this is an opportunity for you to build a business. So what I do in that is I include my wife, Gabby, in my post. I include my kids all of the time in my stories, and I'm always talking about them. And I'm talking about the opportunity to better provide for my family. And I really need some water, so I'm going to come over here as we switch to the next one. I think Mike touched on this a little bit. It's hard to hear back there. But the vital behaviors, like I've heard people say, they're designed for women. And it's like the vital behaviors are equally valuable and important to everybody. Like I'm proof the products work. I use the shake. I use the Power Greens. I use the Energize. I eat the beach bars. And I do the workouts. And I read personal development books, listen to podcasts, and do all of those things. I do invites in person. I ask for referrals. I do ads, not very often, I did that like once, but I try things to get the story out there, to make invitations to other people. And then I recognize other people's success. So the opportunity is the same. The vital behaviors are equally valuable for everybody. So we're gonna end out, this is gonna be my favorite slide. Maybe as you're looking at this slide, write down some things maybe that you want to accomplish in your life, some things that would completely change your life. But for me, before I ever knew about Beachbody, when I was trying those businesses, I had a goal to be retired by the time I was 50 years old and have $1 million in the bank and no mortgage. That was my goal ever before knowing Beachbody. So I started this journey and started working on it. I had a goal and vision board that looked like this. And I remember, like I made this when I was a coach, but I had one written out before with those specific goals. And I remember one day sitting at work when coaching was getting a little bit hard, like 8 months in. And I looked at the people in my work, like I went from sweeper to running the service and shipping department. And I was like, I can get to be like the vice president or the head engineer, or the head foreman. Like I can get there in like 5 years. I'm a hard worker. But I looked at their lives. I kind of figured out what they made. I looked at their lives. And in reality, like what they made if I got there would never get me to my goals and dreams and ambitions that I had for my life. Also, they looked 20 years older than they actually were, and they were still working 12-hour days and every Saturday. And I said, I don't want that for my life. So I'm gonna build this business, and these are my goals and my dreams, and I'm gonna make it happen with this opportunity. So I had a goal and dream board. That looked very similar to this. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story that stuck with me from the very beginning. I have a mentor named Craig, and Craig used to mentor other men in a business like this. And he would have them, he had all of them do that, but I'm gonna tell a story about one guy that he was mentoring. He had this guy, as he was setting his goals, cut out pictures out of a magazine and put them up on the fridge so that he could see them every day. I had this as my screensaver at work, this one right here, because of that story. And he had a picture of, like his wife had this dream home she wanted, and they cut it out and put it on the fridge. And his daughter wanted this pony, so they cut a pony out and put it up on the fridge. And then they wanted to go to Disneyland as a family, so there was like the Disney castle, and they cut it out and put it up on the fridge. And one day this guy called Craig, and he said, Craig, I think I'm gonna quit. And Craig said, don't tell me you're gonna quit. He's like, when you get home from work tonight, I want you to take your family into the kitchen, and I want you to take your wife and your kids in there, and I want you to look at your daughter in the eyes and take the pony picture off of the fridge and rip it. And say, you know what, you're never gonna have this. And then take the picture of the dream home that your wife wants and say, honey, we're not meant to live in a house like this, and rip it and throw it in the garbage can. And then he said, and after that, I want you to look at all of your kids and take that picture of Disneyland and rip it and put it in the garbage. And tell them, like, we're not gonna be able to do a trip like this. And he said, I promise you, they'll take far more courage to do that to your family than it will ever take to build this business. And it's always stuck with me. So guys, I want to leave you with that. Like, come up with some clear goals and clear things that you want to do to better provide for your family. I want you guys to set those. I want you to put them up where your family can see them, where you can see them every day so that you can be reminded of that. And then I want you guys to go after it. Guys, I think Josh said this, but this business is so simple. You get results yourself, You help other people get results, and then you teach them how to help other people just like you help them. That's it. This business is 95% your mindset and 5% the mechanics of all of that other stuff that you're gonna learn about. So guys, let's go out and do it. We're counting on you as Matt. I want this room full next year, and I want 3 of you guys in this audience up here teaching on how you did this. See you guys later.
All right, coaches, thank you for coming. That was awesome. I love Scottie's point on understanding the opportunity. Okay, general session, 7:45 tonight.